Who am I? My name is Mikael Ananda, and this is a story of my life and some of the knowledge that I found on the way. It all started very early for me. One of the first memories I have is of the many long nights lying in bed, unable to sleep. As a child, I experienced many problems with pains in my body. However, more than the pain of my headache or stomach ache, there was a feeling of separation that created great sorrow in my heart. The intensity of the feelings that swept over me pushed me further and further, bringing me into new states of consciousness. All that time awake initiated a strange and beautiful journey for me. After lying in bed for a long time, I could not find anything to think about. The sound of the clock in my room absorbed my awareness. Tick, 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 tick. I remember that the sound was so loud and intense. After a while, my senses started to get more acute and more in tune with the surroundings. I remember listening to the sound created by my pillow when moving my head slightly. The sound was so strong and so clear, like walking in thick snow on a cold day. I could hear my own breath, slow and rhythmic, my heart beating and the sound of the blood in my veins. It all was so clear and strong. My nightly adventures turned into a routine. If I would focus with all my attention on one point, like my breath, I would get deeper and deeper into the experience. Often the breath played a big role by complementing and giving more focus to whatever was happening. Sometimes I was breathing fast, sometimes very slow. The breath had a life of its own, and all I did was to follow it with great interest, to see what would happen next. At the time, I had no direct goal with the experience. It was more something happening to me than something that I was trying to create. I just put my focus where it wanted to be and waited with curiosity for what would come next. Eventually, the sensations absorbed me so totally that there was nothing to do but surrender everything, leaving everything behind. No thoughts, no reflection, nothing but pure impression. Time stood still as I moved through a tunnel of white light. Slowly, I moved further into the light. After a while, I felt as if I was standing in front of a great gate. All my energy was focused on the door, and I was getting closer and closer. As I surrendered deeper into the experience, I could see the doors opening slowly, and a bright light was coming out, showering me with its rays. I entered the gate, and everything was suddenly totally calm. The pure and full experience of the present moment is what you are. I am that. This was the beginning of my way and my search for truth. What is this? Who am I? And what is the purpose of all this? This was my true self. This was the source, and I felt like coming back home. The thoughts were not there anymore, and the thinking mind did not try to take up any more space. It is just me in the room. As there was no thought, there was no comparison of how it usually was, only a great relief. At this time, I usually just went back to bed and eventually fell asleep. From my many deep experience of trance-like states and deep meditations, I gained a lot of insight. I believe that it changed my whole outlook on life. Great wisdom, comfort, and personal power came to me, and I felt on top of the world. I knew that I had unlimited power and the ability to do anything I wanted. I knew that there was nothing to fear and no death. I knew that I was here on earth to make great changes. I did not think much about my extraordinary experience at the time. I'm not even sure that I remember them until much later in life. I did not talk about it with my friends or family. The only memory I have from this time is the many times I woke up with strange sensations in my body.